Oh, what's going on, everyone? Sorry for the weird. I clicked the wrong button in the middle of the little intro there. But hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to our live after show for House of the Dragon. We're all the way up to the third episode, y'all. And can I tell y'all a secret? Might be my least favorite of the three so far. And we'll obviously get into that in tonight's discussion. Again, shout out to everyone coming back in for the third week in the row, talking about this show that I'm still enjoying. Don't get me wrong. This episode has some very well written moments, some really great performances. First half was really solid. Second half, we'll get into it tonight, but very excited to be here yet again with you all discussing this third episode, which, like I said, we will get into the positives. But I think for the first time all season, there was more negatives than I, anticipated. I'll just kind of say that. But listen, man, we are here to discuss it. We're here to break it down, and I'm so excited for you all. Again, this is a spoiler discussion, so if you haven't seen the episode and you want to discuss it with people, we'll go watch the episode, and we'll probably still be discussing it, after you're done watching it. But you know the rule, guys, as far as this, I always appreciate you all showing the love and respect and coming to the channel and having a conversation with me on this weekly discussion. So thumbs up, share, and we're live. So go ahead and leave your thoughts in the comments. And as we've been doing the last few weeks, I will be sharing the link with you all here in a little bit to discuss this episode. But before we get into the episode, there was I mentioned it briefly on the watch along regarding some news, some not ground earth shattering news, but a couple different news topics I want to discuss with you all first. And of course, we'll get into tonight's episode. First topic at hand, and I want to get you guys' thoughts on this particular set of news we got just a couple days ago. One piece of news that we have tonight to discuss. The showrunner, or one of the showrunners, the co-showrunner, Miguel Sapochnik. I think I pronounced his last name right, but you all know, if we're Game of Thrones fans out there, he directed some of the more popular, well-known episodes in the later seasons of Game of Thrones. He's a veteran. He is the showrunner on the show. He directed episode 1. I think he's going to be directing another episode a little bit later in the season. But as you all can see, if you all didn't know this, I'm pretty sure you all might know if you've been keeping up with the news with this show. But he announced that he will be exiting the series at the end of season 1. Now, this comes from us from THR. True Hollywood Reporter, that Mr. Miguel is no longer going to be attached to this show come next season. Ryan, who is the other co-writer, showrunner, he will be back working closely with George R.R. Martin, which is great news for me. And we have that his replacement, or at least someone that's going to kind of step in, another veteran from Game of Thrones, Alan Taylor, will return to this world, and he will be directing multiple episodes and have probably executive producer rights. And I believe they said Miguel's going to still be attached to it as a producer, but he's not going to be, being the showrunner, and who's to say this might just be for the second season. He might come back in further seasons. But the quote for him was that he just essentially said that, it's an extremely tough decision that he had to make to move on, but it was the right decision for him personally and professionally. He's deeply comforted that Alan Taylor, who, again, if you all know him, he's a very popular, well-known veteran within this universe. Not the best. Some of his films aren't that great. He directed Thor: The Dark World, and he also did, was it Terminator Genesis? Yeah, that's not what we're talking about. Alan Taylor in the world of Game of Thrones is great, but he believes this precious series is in good hands. So, and also, I think I read another part of the article. This 3-year, kind of creating this show, it takes a lot out of a person. So, I can totally understand his sentiments there, that he just wants to kind of take a break. And like I said, he doesn't say he's not going to come back ever. He might direct a couple episodes come season 2, maybe season 3, and he might come back in a more, showrunner position in later seasons. But I thought that news was a bit interesting because, again, you got this big hit show. It's breaking records, and I'm pretty sure that paycheck wasn't nothing to laugh at. But, like I said, mental health is definitely more important. And he felt as though, he wants to maybe venture off and have a little bit of a break. So I can totally understand that. But let me know in the chat, guys. Are you upset by the news? Are you worried that he's leaving and, Alan Taylor's coming back in the mix? Let me know how you all feel about that in the chat. And there was another news article. Now, this one, take this with a huge grain of salt, okay? But there's been a little rumblings online the last few days. And again, take this with a grain of salt. But apparently, and this comes from us from RPK-News 1. I've seen them floating around. I've seen them report on different things on Twitter, mostly like MCU and Marvel, Star Wars, DC projects. But apparently, and I think their name is Daniel, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, this comes from us from RPK-News 1, that we might get Superman and Wanda Maximoff, aka Scarlet Witch, that may be eyed for some roles in season 2. Again, guys, take it with a grain of salt. First off, Henry Cavill, extremely, if y'all don't know, he's my Superman. I would love to see him back with that suit, with the cape, with the S on his chest, but it seems like DC can never get their stuff together. So we'll see what comes of that. There's been news of him maybe Marvel, contacting him. Of course, has The Witcher, which I'm a big fan of that show. He's also doing other projects left and right. The man's very busy. If he joins Game of Thrones and the world of Game of Thrones, I would love that. But I don't know. The Elizabeth Olsen, just as busy, right? Obviously, we know that she actually has a show with HBO premiering next year. She is the Scarlet Witch, even though she died in Doctor Strange 2. She'll be back. There's a multiverse out there. We met another version of her in the new film, so there will be more of Wanda. So we know that she has her schedule booked there. But I'll just play make-believe. If this is to be true, and if we were to get the announcement, probably by the end of the season, as far as production going into season 2, if they haven't, I doubt that they even went into season 2. I would imagine that season 2 would probably be shooting probably by the end of the year, but neither here nor there. If they do announce that Henry Cavill and Elizabeth Olsen is joining the cast, go ahead and just, destroy the internet. Just go ahead and unplug your Ethernet cables and your routers, because the internet would blow up if this were to be true. But again, even from this person's account, I don't know where the outlet, where their news came from, because THR or Deadline would have reported on this as well. So, like I said, that one's not huge news, but if it were to be true, it's definitely something to talk about. But again, guys, let me know what you all think about this potential casting. And I think some people have alluded to, if Elizabeth Olsen were to join, they would assume that she might be some descendant of Melisandre, the Red Witch, or maybe even her and herself, because we all know that she can change her form. We saw that in the season when she was obviously a beautiful woman and she became older with her spell, her enchantment, wearing off. So We'll see. We shall see. But let me know what you all think about that casting. If you will be open, I think everyone would be happy for that. Who wouldn't want these two talented individuals to be a part of this show? But let me know what you think about that, and also your thoughts on Miguel, one of the showrunners, no longer being a part of the series come season 2. So again, guys, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it in the comments. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and share the link excuse me, to tonight's stream in the chat. So let me grab this link here. And again, just a couple ground rules if you're going to be entering the stream. Number one, be respectful. Number two, let's have some fun. And number three, if possible, if you want to come on, just make sure you have a microphone or a headset. If you're going to show your face, make sure you have a good light set up there and whatnot. And then also, if I'm not aware of you, if I've never seen your face or your username, I'm gonna make sure that you're not a bot or anything. So I might ask you to give me a thumbs up in the back room, or leave like your Twitter or Instagram in the private chat, for I can just make sure you're legit and not trying to come on the stream to act a damn fool. So with that being said, now that we have parameters and rules, I have copied the link, and I'm going to be sharing the link in the stream now. So anyone and everyone's welcome, again, based on those parameters, can come in and join. And you don't have to stay on the whole stream. You can come in and step by for 5-10 minutes and just share your thoughts on the episode, share your thoughts on the news that we just talked about, and have a good time. So join the stream by clicking this link. All right. So the link to the stream is in the chat, and I am pinning the stream to the chat. All right. So the link is now available, y'all. Like I said, anyone and everyone's welcome, just with those parameters as far as respect, having fun. And of course, if you want to have a conversation, a microphone, a lighting system, and we can get things going. But in the meanwhile, let me catch up to the chat here and see what you guys were talking about here. Vera, wow, yikes, what's going on? We got Meg back in the building. Zia, they tried to humble us with one off screen. Zia, we'll talk about that. We will talk about that tonight. What's going on? Let's see here. My man Johnny, what's going on? Johnny, my man Justin, what's going on? Vaughn 3-0. I would say 2.5. 2.5 wins for me, right? And no L's. They have not taken an L from me yet. But this is probably my least favorite out of the 3 so far. And we'll get to those reasons a little bit later. Who was riding that dragon? Yes, that's I definitely have some questions about that, Clay. I don't think it was a Targaryen. Yeah, I'm very curious. The son. Well, no, we saw Lenore, I think his name. We saw him on his dragon, but who was that other person? There was 2 dragons. Obviously, Daemon was on the ground. Corlys was on the ground. His uncle, or whoever his other relative was, they were all on the ground. So who was that other dragon rider, right? So I think that is something to speculate about regarding that other person on the dragon. I did not. I did look. It did look like. Oh, you talking about the crab feeder? What a letdown. I don't know, man. I was hopeful for that character there. I thought this was gonna be maybe someone that's gonna carry on for maybe the first half of the season, but they I don't know. Crab feeder was a little weak to me, y'all. But we got someone in the chat. We got other people's popping up. That I'm gonna bring in here in a little bit, but let me just get to some more of these comments, and I'm gonna bring in my guest here to get their thoughts on the episode. We got someone's. This is the best episode. Okay. Love the ending. Got another love the ending. The ending was everything. Okay, we got some people that enjoyed it. That's good to hear. All right. The other dragon flyer son. I thought, okay, yeah, we'll get into that for sure. But let me go ahead and bring in one of my guests who's joined us last week and a week before, and he's back again, sharing his thoughts on tonight's episode. I'm talking about my man Johnny. What's going on, man?
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me okay?
Hear you great. Looking good.
Good,
Eric.
Good.
Man. We are here in the building. And also, I think, Meg, I don't know if you're here or not. We got another person in the waiting room. Let me know, Meg, if you're ready to here you go. Okay, let me bring in Meg. I think she's still getting situated. But yeah, come in. Oh, hey, what's going on, Meg?
Hey, y'all. Can y'all see me?
Well, I can't. It's a black screen.
Okay, I'll come back.
All right, take your time. Johnny, man, how we doing tonight, man?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. It's been a fantasy weekend between Rings of Power on Friday, and then House of the Dragon tonight.
Yeah, man, it's a crazy time to be alive, man, and especially for anyone Marvel fans, we got She-Hulk, we got Star Wars coming up in a couple weeks. It's a crazy time, Johnny. It's a crazy time to be alive, my friend. But the question I have for you, Johnny, this is our third episode. I don't know if it's been titled yet. Last I checked, it hasn't got an official title, but just your general impressions of this third episode, Johnny. Were you a fan? Is it the best out of the three? Is it the worst out of the three? Is it somewhere in the middle? How'd you feel about it?
I think it's kind of somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
To me, it was a little meandering with the whole trip and everything, and then it's like, okay, are they still on the hunting trip? And then, and then it was a little meandering for me. It was, a lot of good action at the end.
Yeah,
with Damon, and I like how it ended, but it just seemed a little meandering to me, as opposed to the other episodes. Not awful, but not. Right. I don't think it's the best episode. A lot of people in the chat are saying it's the best episode yet, but
I don't see it. I agree with you. Yeah, there was a couple people that definitely said that they loved it. It was the best episode. They loved the ending, and I feel the opposite. I didn't like the ending, and I didn't think it was the best episode. But we'll get into my reasons here in a bit. But let me go ahead and bring in our other special guest here, Meg. What's going on? Oh, okay. Is your mic on? Is it muted mic? Oh, I think you're.
Hey y'all.
What's going on, Meg?
Hello.
How are you doing tonight?
Good evening. Hey Johnny.
Hi.
So, Meg, the question I have for you, and by the way, guys, you've seen Johnny. This is third time on the stream here. But Meg, before we get your thoughts, since this is your first time joining the after show for House of Dragon, why don't you introduce yourself to the people out there?
Hi everyone, I'm Meg. Oh well, I wasn't expecting this
spotlight. It's solo.
I love all things nostalgia, 90s, Nintendo, just nerdy fun stuff, TV, movies, and my channel is Easier Said with Meg. Check it out. I love to roller skate, so just check me out. Thanks.
Definitely, Meg. Well, again, guys, once the video is up, I'll go ahead and leave Johnny's information and Meg's information in the description of this video. But Meg, the same question I have for Johnny. How did you feel? General impressions of, in the title, I'm sorry, the title is Second of His Name is the name of this third episode, which right now is holding a 9.8 out of 10 on IMDb, which is very surprising. A lot of people are having this as their favorite episode. But my question to you, Meg, was it your favorite episode?
No, it wasn't. But I'm actually not surprised that Damon has so many fans. I get it.
Yeah, there's some Damon stans out there.
I understand the Damon stans, but it was the weakest episode, but we're still talking, Dem Thrones land. So it was still in the 9s for me. Mm-hmm. And I made an effort to watch both of the Rings of Power episodes right before I watched this. And when I was watching Rings of Power, I was getting that nostalgia. And I love to see, all of the creatures. And like you said, it was so beautiful. And in contrast, when we were watching tonight's episode and the way it opened, I was like, this is exactly what Rings of Power is missing. They don't have that sense of urgency. They don't have that sense of real danger and anxiety that we get when we watch House of the Dragon. So even though it was the weakest episode, this still reigns supreme.
I agree. And Kay, shout out to Kay. Filler, I wouldn't say it's a filler because there's a lot of good setup, a lot of foreshadowing that I think we got in this episode. So I wouldn't go as far as saying as a filler, but to Johnny's point, to Meg's point, and I'll just throw in my 2 cents. I do feel as though this is the weakest out of the 3 to me because I felt, first off, we talked about it last week, Johnny. I'm not a fan of off-screen development. In this episode, really kind of obviously we got I think they said 3 years. It was from episode 2 to 3 when the war of everything's going on with the sea snake and all that. So it's a 3-year time jump, and I'm not a fan of that. But I'm also not a fan of off-screen deaths. They kind of, I don't want to say hyped up the crab feeder, but in my eyes, they kind of did. And I feel like cool. It was awesome to see him ripped in half, his guts hanging out of the side of him, but I would have loved to have seen that scene. So to me, the second half wasn't as strong and promising as the first half, but Johnny, any thoughts on that, man? And then we'll kind of get into the discussion here. Oop, I think you're muted, Johnny.
Okay, there we go. The first half was like I said, kind of meandering, and then with all the courtship stuff, and I mean, obviously that stuff is going to come to the forefront eventually. But I think, yeah, we are like, it was the second birthday of the kid. So I think she was just pregnant. And I think she was probably
Right. Yeah.
pregnant.
9 months.
Married.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's probably like a little under 3 years.
Yep.
But how is it that with Dragon and with everything else that this guy has just been operating for 3 years? We don't get any of that. The Dragon should have been able to do. I would think a dragon or one or two dragons would be able to do much more than what they did.
Yeah. You
But
would think.
maybe I'm wrong. And how is this guy still operating there and still in existence? And I don't know if they just stretched that out for the show or I mean, obviously we know that later on in the season we're going even further in time because we're swapping
big
out
10 years.
actors.
Yeah.
But I didn't really I didn't really care for that, not giving enough of that stepping stones plot and I don't understand like Damon's anger at the messenger and don't blame the messenger,
Yeah.
don't kill the messenger,
Right.
but apparently Damon doesn't feel that way. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely a topic of discussion a little bit later as far as that the anger that Damon has. But Meg, same question for you regarding just kind of to Johnny's point. I was kind of confused too in regards to the underwhelming nature of the dragons. They got 2 dragons and they've been at war for 2 years with the crab feeder and his crab followers. I don't know, that seems a little bit I don't say lazy writing, but it seems a little bit too illogical. It doesn't really make sense to me that they were able to hold off 2 dragons. Obviously we'll get more into depth a little bit later, man, but how did you feel did you feel a little bit underwhelmed by that aspect?
So was the crab guy supposed to be like scary or?
Apparently, I mean, he has his own poster. He was built up last week, and for 2, I mean, even if they don't build him up, they literally told us for 2 years they've been fighting this guy. So apparently, he's a strategic warrior that can,
But when
dragons.
I just saw like a defeated little man, it was
Yeah.
just, it was giving me like, burn victims. So I just felt like so sad, like I wasn't really rooting for Damon, and I felt like Damon had no honor. I know they say, there's no rules in war, but to wave the white flag it's repulsive to me, and it just reinforces why I don't respect Damon as a character. Yeah. I just don't. I felt like that was a really weak move. If you already have reinforcements, do it the right way, since y'all been doing this for years, right? I just felt like that was trash, and I saw some comments about him, being the bunny rabbit and stuff. Like, come on. It was
I totally agree. In some very leadership is not a strong suit with the 2 brothers, Viserys and his brother Daemon. They're not the best leaders.
I miss Arya.
Yeah, Arya definitely would have. Yeah, she's definitely more.
She would have been good bait, but it was just not that believable.
Yeah, no, I agree. And we'll talk more about the gentleman on the screen now, which is the crab feeder. Again, you're able to withhold and fight off dragons for 2 years, but we don't get that big moment for him versus Daemon. Like, can he wield the sword? Does he talk? I mean, I don't know. I wasn't a fan of how they handled that element, but getting into kind of the good stuff here. Now, I know, Johnny, you say you felt that the first half was a little kind of slow and kind of, meandering through things, but I actually, now looking at it compared to the second half, I actually liked that first half a lot, especially performance-wise with Patty Constantine, who plays King Viserys. I really, number one, I love the moment where he admits give that man a couple drinks of wine. He's pouring his heart out to everyone. That moment of truth that, the ultimate decision of making his heir, his daughter, was keeping Daemon away from the throne. But more importantly, it was kind of fueled by love. And if you're a king of the 7 kingdoms, not a lot of decisions need to be love needs to be one of your top priorities. So that kind of speaks to a little bit of his leadership. But performance-wise, Meg, what did you think about King Viserys in this episode and his lack of leadership?
It's just disappointing because it's like, we're rooting for you. We're all rooting for you. And
he's a good guy, man. He's a good guy.
Every decision, it's just, I'm like, and this is why this is why,
Yeah.
And I do want to talk more about the king, but I don't want to get ahead of where we are, but it's regarding the hunting scene.
Oh yeah,
Because
yeah.
I have thoughts about that. I feel strongly about that scene.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that whole
Okay.
metaphor or deeper understanding of that scene. But Johnny, man, just tossing it back to you, man. Just your kind of thoughts on the performance by Patty, but also just kind of his arc in the narrative that we got from the King in this episode.
It was good that he showed the love that he has for Rhaenyra, and he I don't want to get too far ahead either. Reiterated to her that you're the heir, and that nothing about that is changing. I don't see how that's possible. By the way, I don't see the forces are going to be working against him, and he might not be around for the decision.
Yeah, I think one of those forces you're referring to, Johnny, might be this person on the screen here.
Yep, and her dad and her dad and uncle.
Yep,
because they're already chit-chatting away about what are we going to do with this air situation, So exactly. That's what they're trying to do. But overall, I think he showed a lot of weakness, and I know that people, some of the other panelists that were on the show last week were like, "Oh no, he's not a weak king." Yeah, he's a weak king.
He showed it this week. If anything, he definitely doesn't have that that leadership.
The whole hunting, if you want to call that hunting scene, was something else.
Yeah, and like I said, we'll dive deep into that because I thought that they were going to maybe give us a rehash of Robert Baratheon and what happened to him when he went hunting in Game of Thrones, but it didn't play out that way.
Especially since we found out there was a boar that was like out of control too. They mentioned something about the boar being kind of a little
alcohol
nuts.
Involved. There was a Lannister involved. I'm like, oh, this is Robert Baratheon all over again. But it did not play out that way. But going back to, again, one of the highlights for me, and again, I'm a little disappointed because I would have loved to have seen maybe more scenes of that tension between Alicent and Rhaenyra, but we see some of that in this episode where mother-in-law, or to say stepmom, is kind of hey daughter, King, we got to go on a trip here. Need to pack your clothes there, darling. And Rhaenyra's talking to her music guy like, did I tell you to leave? Like, I don't know, Meg, how did you feel about the tension between the two best friends that are now stepmom, stepdaughter, and the dynamic between those two?
The Twitter memes on that, I had to go to Twitter and pumping out immediately.
I hate you.
Like, how do people make memes this fast?
It's some legends out there, yeah.
And they basically had the same reaction I had when she's like, as queen. I was like, oh, girl. Oh, no, you didn't. Like,
yeah. No, I agree. Johnny, man, your thoughts on this once friendship and before I toss to you, Johnny, there was a question we talked about last week, Meg, that I just quickly want to get your thoughts on. The friendship between the Princess Rhaenyra and Alicent Hightower. Do you think there's more to that? And when I'm referring to more, do you think there's a love between the two? Like,
I think it was very obvious.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. There was,
I think so as well,
tension there.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like it was intentional.
Yeah, I agree. And even the actress who plays Alicent has come out and said when she read the part, she felt that was the intent, that there was love between the two for both sides.
It's because they were so intimate in subtle ways. That's what exuded love, the touch of a hand. And I'm sure as a friend might notice that someone has a nail biting habit or something like that. So it was subtle things like that, laying in each other's laps and stuff. Truly a loving bond, because I remember when I was watching like the first episode, I was thinking, goodness, it's been since childhood since I've had a friendship like that, where, and it just seemed like it blossomed into something more. So I'm curious to see if they touch on that again or if they just leave it up to interpretation.
I would love a flashback of maybe within this 3-year gap that one confessed to each other, or maybe a kiss happened when they were younger. I would love to explore more of their friendship,
but also duty. And then like, this is Game of Thrones universe, so there is no alternative lifestyle that they could have led. So it's very interesting. Very interesting.
No, I agree with you. But going back to the scene here, Johnny, what did you think about the again this timidness of Allison talking to her friend, but also kind of knowing that there's a different power dynamic, and now she is the queen, right? And how did you feel about that conversation? And did you miss some of that off-screen tension between the two, or did you feel like this episode kind of conveyed enough information from the audience to say, yeah, this has been a terrible 2.5 years for
Yeah, I think it's been. It hit the high point last episode where it was announced that he was marrying her, and she didn't know anything about it.
Right.
Right. I forget if it was somebody that was here or another show that or another recap show that I watched, but it was to talk about friends. When you're young and you're not with the opposite sex yet, or with even the same sex, if you're gay, and you have a friend that's close to you, that's like your source of intimacy, and it made me recall my friends that I had in elementary school, and how we would go over each other's house and we would listen to records and stuff like that, and it wasn't even like, it wasn't romantic, but it was like, that was like your close friend. We played ball together, did all these things, but that is gone now. And when she's like, when she barked out "my queen" to her, I was like, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah.
And like, I wouldn't be surprised if they bathed together as children and stuff, like that's a close friendship. And so for her to bring out that "my queen," it was like, oh, as queen.
And then the dueling orders, the musician's like a yo-yo, it's like, wait, go, leave. Oh, your queen has commanded you to leave. It's like, okay, I'm out.
Yeah, no, I agree. The tension was there. And like you said, John, I think now, me personally, I would have loved to have seen maybe a couple more scenes from that 2.5 year time jump. But I think you guys said it perfectly, that the acting of these two actresses are giving us enough on screen to kind of fill in those blanks, to kind of feel like, this is a common conversation that is like 5 seconds or less. Like, okay, whatever. Yeah, I'll do what I gotta do. I'll survive the day without ripping your head off from Rhaenyra's point of view. But speaking of point of view, and again, before we continue this conversation, guys, appreciate every single one of you all being in on tonight's stream. Thumbs up, share, leave your thoughts in the comments. Again, Johnny and Meg's information will be left in the description of this video once we wrap things up. But definitely subscribe to them and show them some love and support. But getting into the discussion here, when they're in the cavern and the king is throwing out the whole, you got to marry, you got to have kids of your own one day, Rhaenyra. And we see again, we mentioned Arya a little bit earlier. We see that again from episode 1. This isn't the path she wants to go on. She doesn't want to be a mom. She doesn't want to be, worrying about kids and queens and kings. She wants to be on the battlefield. And we'll talk about her getting some blood on her hands a little bit later. But Meg, your thoughts again on just kind of this path of destined to be, a wife, a mother, and going down that, and Rhaenyra's pushback on all that.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen. It seems like it's not going to happen. I absolutely loved that whole scene and all of the matriarchs and the gossip. What were they saying about one of the ladies being held hostage? Did you catch that?
Well, which scene? What scene was that?
Where all the matriarchs and the Lannisters family were there inside the tents.
Okay, and they mentioned that someone was. I gotta rewatch that.
Chat, help me out, because I rewatched it while I was waiting on this stream, and some of the gossip, I rewatched it with the captions, and one of the ladies had been kidnapped and held hostage or something. So that was just something I wanted more clarity on. If chat knows what's going on.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to replay the scene while I talk to Johnny. Johnny, your thoughts again on this this path and this reluctancy of Rhaenyra not wanting to be, quote unquote, mother and a wife and all that stuff. And I'm gonna look at this.
Yeah, she doubled down on that last episode. She's been thinking that way. Actually, first episode when she told her mom that she doesn't see herself as having children and having the birth bed as her fields of battle, so to speak.
Hey Johnny, not to cut you off, man. I think your Apple headsets are staticky a little bit. Are you hearing that too, Meg? Okay. Want to try it again, Johnny?
Better now, or
Yeah, it's still a little bit staticky.
Yeah, a little fuzzy.
okay? Let me bow out for a second.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. Yeah, man. I'm looking at the scene now, and I'm playing it here.
It's right when
they're talking about the
Rhaenyra is
war.
walking up.
Okay.
She's listening in on the women, because I watched it again when I was waiting, because I was like, what did I miss?
Yeah, then maybe there's something to keep an eye out for, because I definitely think it. Because I'm looking at it now. They're talking about the war and your uncle being in the war. Yeah,
go to the very beginning of that scene as she's walking up to.
As she's walking up. Okay.
Yeah.
It's the guys. He's joining them now. Youngest son, the law. My lord, even able to.
Hey, Johnny.
Yeah, I'm not.
You look clear.
Seeing it there.
All right.
Let me see. Let me check in with your mic, Johnny. Go ahead and how we sounding? We're still figuring it out. Well, take your time. But just tossing it to you, Meg. Just kind of your thoughts on again, kind of dive into the scene. We get a Lannister. We have a Lannister, ladies and gentlemen. Who's Jason Lannister? I believe his name was. Meg, those Lannisters, you just can't trust them. You just can't trust them.
A dragon's lair for his future lady.
Oh my goodness.
Do anything for her.
Oh my goodness, Meg. I mean, every time I hear a Lannister, see a Lannister, I just have this feeling in my stomach of just unturned and just like, oh my gosh, what are they gonna do? What are they gonna say? What's their next scheme? But your thoughts on this Jason Lannister individual here?
Honestly, I'm not surprised that she doesn't have hundreds of men, bowing at her feet and Bridgerton style, like milady. I honestly, I come on.
Yeah.
You get so many benefits. King's daughter aside, even if you look like a thumb. Yeah. You get so many benefits. So I wasn't surprised. It's expected that they shoot their shot.
Yeah.
But she said a man will make me happy.
Right. Now I definitely love the pushback from Rhaenyra, not just again falling in the trap of the lion, as they call him with the Lannisters, but it was multiple times in this episode where I'm just like, man, keep an eye on this dude, because whether it was the weapon / gift that he gave to King Viserys to obviously trying to flirt and get in the goodwill with the queen or the princess, it's just like, man, these Lannisters, they just can't. They just can't make. But a scene that I know.
I thought the king was poisoned for a second, and you said
I was just about to,
he was just drunk, because I was like, what's happening? All of a sudden,
exactly.
Twisting around like a Chris Brown video or something. I was like, is the king poisoned? I was going to lose it.
There was a moment, like I said, I was getting very Robert Baratheon with that young Lannister, giving him all the wine and getting him off his game, would ultimately led him to his death. I was definitely getting those vibes in this episode. But a scene that I know we talked about in the live stream that we did with the watch party, with the king airing out all of his laundry in front of all the guests, again, just nailing it and just telling his daughter that even I am not above law, even I am not above tradition, with marriage and kids and all that. Your thoughts on the king? Again, he seems to only want to be a tough guy when it comes to talking to his daughter at times.
Yeah, because at this point the king was drunk and sick. Yeah, it's just showing a pattern of poor decision making. Even with the naming your heir, and we went through a 3-year time jump, right? Mm-hmm. And so, like, at this point, he's been alive at least 3+ years since the last episode. So I put in the comments, if I was king, I would say, hey, what are you talking about? I'm alive. I'm the king. Shut the heck up. I'll tell you when I'm going to name an heir. He's just everywhere. Name an heir. I would be like, am I dead? Yeah. Am I dead? Leave me alone. I'm alive. I'm still the king. They're always talking about the next king. Yeah. I'd be jealous. Like, I would be like, what are you talking about, the next king? I'm still here.
Which,
worship
to your
me.
point, man, I wonder how many, especially Otto being involved. I wonder how many people are aware of his illness. Like we obviously know Otto
Right.
knows, his maesters know, but I wonder if Allison. I wonder if Allison knows that he's
The whole king. I feel like the whole kingdom knows. Like
everyone knows.
he wears it on his sleeve. He just walks around looking like, I'm like, you're the king.
Yeah.
I've never seen a king. I'm like, you are the king. That's why I said he's always going through it. I'm like, how are you the king and always going through it? If I was, what? You don't like your wife? Oh, new wife. I want the prettiest girl in the land. You don't like this? Oh, like whatever. And let the other people pay the consequences later when I die. But like for him to just sorry, y'all.
No, you're good. I think it speaks.
It
speaks loud, Meg, because I think everyone, all decisions are, and he's been king for, I guess, 12, 13 years now from when we first opened the show. There's been a time of peace. There hasn't been a lot of decisions that had to be made by Viserys, but now these when tough times come about, we know that Otto speaks before he does. We know that other people give him suggestions. So it's almost against his nature to have these tough decisions being made by himself.
And that's why I said, not to, jump the gun, but with the hunting scene, it was just like right there in your face. It was like he was a child. It's like, it's like he was a teenager.
Dig it in there a little bit more, like he didn't know how to do.
Yeah, but the way that they had like all these men holding this stag, and okay, I was making sure my cat was there. I hadn't seen her in hours. She's in the window. But the way they had all of these men, and they're like, shoot it right here, shoot it right here. I'm like, is this hunting? Is this satisfying? How is this not emasculating?
Right.
And I thought he was gonna say like let it run or something, and see that would have been a king move if he told them, hey, release it, I got it. Yeah, but instead he's just like, at this point I would be surprised if he can walk by the next episode.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised if that next time we see him, and if there is more of a time jump coming, for sure he's going to be getting closer and closer to his grave. But in the meanwhile, his daughter is out here, getting a little bit more closer with, Mr. Cole here. She was given the choice to make your decision of who you want to marry in the future. And I don't know, Meg, are we getting closer and closer to these two being a thing, or is it just a really good mutual respect?
This is the night. Game of Thrones characters. Do you want them to marry?
Again, I don't think that's Rhaenyra's path. I don't think that's not the top of her mind right now. It's being a relationship. Her path? Right now, I think it's just finding herself as an individual, one, and also taking in these different things that she's seeing around her, not being her father, being more of a assertive queen, if that path is to be. So I don't think a relationship is on the top of her mind right now, if I'm being honest with you. And as far as I don't think Cole, I don't know if he has much of a. He talked about his backstory and how much her just choosing him meant to his family, his legacy, the first Night's Watch of his entire family tree. So I don't think they want to muck up the waters, because if she's interested in the King's Night, I don't know how that the whole power scaling. I don't think you can marry a Night's a Night Watch person and not have any pushback on that. I think it has to be royal blood.
I think the women can marry whoever.
Yeah.
But speaking of marriages that might not happen or will happen, was Mysteria in this episode? Because I have my eyes on her. And I do not trust her at all. She gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, we talked about her last week and kind of heard, one of our panelists brought up that she might be the witch. There's some witchy vibes going on, and that might be something to look forward to in the future. But yeah, she was MIA this episode, which, to your point, Meg, what has she been doing for the last 2 years? Is she a child? If she is of birth? Yeah. What is?
Because I was like, what is she up to right now while Damon's riding
war? Yeah, it's a very good question. I hope that, and I mentioned last week, I wasn't the biggest fan of the performance per se, but I know the actress is fantastic, and I hope they give her a little bit more to do.
The accent.
Yeah, the accent was throwing me off. Johnny, what's going on, man? Are we back?
Hey. Conflict of devices. Here we go again. But
you're good, bro. You sounding clear.
Okay, good.
Back and clear, my friend. But did jump in, Johnny. We just got a little. We just talked a little bit about Cole and Rhaenyra, and if there's a future between those two. Do you think there's a love between the two, or just a mutual respect between the two?
I think there could be a love. I think there's a mutual respect. I don't know whether or not. I think she can marry whoever she wants, but there were trailers where she was walking with the Valerian son.
Okay.
You know,
yeah, I know you're talking about.
Yeah, Lerna, is it Lerna or Lerna?
Yeah, something of that nature.
So I don't know if that means that he's going to be trying to court her or what's going on, but yeah, I think she obviously has something for Cole because she had it from the day of the match there, you know.
Yeah.
And then choosing him, it was a perfect thing. She was able to choose him because of his combat experience, you know. So she's got something for Cole, and the fact that they were there together when all this stuff went down with the boar and everything was great.
He saved her life, and that was like essentially, I want to say her first. We don't know if she's killed any animals before, but it seems to be her first kill, and she looked like she can handle her own. But Meg, going back, we touched on this scene briefly of the king and a little bit of alcohol in the system. He just pours his heart out. But this is the moment where Jason Lannister approaches him about the decision, and assuming that the second, the Aegon is the king and he's the rightful heir, but King Viserys tells us, Meg, and what makes you think that? Are there people rebelling against me? Do you not believe in your king? What do you think about this moment? And do you think, the question out there, do you think this decision will stick? Will Rhaenyra end up on the throne?
It's giving Julius Caesar.
Julius Caesar vibes?
It's just giving Julius Caesar. I'm over King Viserys. I don't care whatever happens to him. It's because if you don't plan to win, what is it? You plan to fail, or
yeah, something. I know what you mean. Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
No, I hear you. Tossing to you, Johnny, in regards to, again, him sticking to his guns and saying that my daughter will be the queen. She will be on that throne. At least for now, that's his decision. Do you think that will stick before he ultimately probably meets his end?
That's what he says, but if, in the face of unrelenting pressure, even though they've pledged it for the good of the kingdom or the good of the realm, as they call it at one time, it doesn't mean that they're not going to renege on it, because they are a patriarchy through and through. Yeah. And they don't want women in charge. We saw that already with the queen that never was. So they don't, I think they reluctantly pledged fealty to Rhaenyra because it was the right thing to do at the time. But I think a lot of them, had their crossed fingers behind their back, ready. And now that there's an heir, as you saw with Otto and his brother, there's a lot of chit chat about, okay, when are we getting rid of this woman?
Yeah.
Cross fingers behind their back or daggers?
Both.
Oh yeah, there you go, daggers. Yeah, that's even better.
Yeah. Cross fingers that nothing goes right, that they want to plan, and daggers if it doesn't go their way. But
daggers is more fitting.
Yeah, it's definitely in this world. Meg, I got this individual. I can't remember this guy's name. I don't know if they ever bring up his name or not, but he's obviously a part of the, he gives his 2 cents to the king and he values his opinion. But your thoughts on this individual? There she is, Meg, on this guy's plan. Initially he's like, oh, you just want to sell get your son in the running, but he says, no, you should actually have Rhaenyra marry her cousin, who is a Valerian, and keep it in the family. Your thoughts on that being possible in the future?
When they said that, I was like, absolutely yes, because at this point, I'm tired of my feelings,
Oops, freeze up.
Uh-oh.
I think you froze up there, Meg, but we'll get her back in, guys, once she gets everything situated. But the same question for you, Johnny. Is she loading? Oh, there you go. I think you're back, Meg, but we can't hear you.
I think you're muted, though.
Can't hear you. technical difficulties are here and
There you go.
strong.
Hey, at least it's not just me.
Yeah,
That's
no
all I have
worries.
to say.
We're doing this live, guys, and stuff like this happens all the time. But I appreciate you
Yeah.
guys sticking around again. Thumbs up, share, comment. But hey, tossing it right back to you, Johnny, in regards to
Yes.
the keeping it in the family. Now, obviously this proposition was given to the king last week, marrying a little 12-year-old. Obviously, he went against that, which was a good decision. But in hindsight, as far as power dynamics, it probably would have made more sense to have made that move. Just because he would have married her didn't mean he had to, do more than just the name and the marriage. But your thoughts on these cousins maybe being the path of power?
Yeah, it sounds like a good compromise where he doesn't have to marry they said she was 12 years old, but I think the girl was she looked like much younger than 12 years old to me.
Yeah, I think that she was 12, but she looked a lot younger for sure. And
yeah,
I think that
to me, she looked like she was 8 years old or something.
Yeah.
You know?
They put her in there to make us feel even more uncomfortable, which
yes, it definitely added the creep factor for everyone. That was like one of the only things that people could talk about last week was how creepy that was. And I saw your meme that you did with the Office, and that was great. And I don't remember if it was before this when they were talking about, oh, why don't you just have Rhaenyra marry her brother?
Yep, that was brought up by the good old Otto Hightower, Johnny, who leave it to Hightower to make things weird.
Wow, yeah. Okay, let's just marry the brother. We'll talk about keeping it. That's definitely keeping it in the family, 100%. In the immediate family. And it's not just. I guess it's not just the Lannisters, right? It's everybody in the realm.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I have the scene here pulled up, ladies and gentlemen. Again, never count out Otto to come up with a plan that just sounds completely crazy and ridiculous. And like you said, Johnny, a good call there. Yeah, that scene definitely, when I was watching it, I'm like, man, Otto is just, this dude is just relentless, man. This guy is just coming up with, and again, we know that this is a strategy. This is a plan to kind of, again, wiggle his way to his daughter and then their, Aegon and all that, man. It's never count on Otto, Johnny. That's put it on his shirt. Watch out.
And definitely what Meg was doing, he's the puppet master. He's trying to manipulate everything. He's working behind the scenes, and he's, between him and his brother and everybody else, he's trying to make the situation best for him and his family. And his counsel to the king is basically designed to do that. So
100%, man.
I don't trust him at all.
Me neither.
But it's funny because the first couple episodes, everybody was like, "Oh, I kind of like the king. I kind of like Rhaenyra." He's a really interesting character.
Very much.
He's a real complex character. And I think it's going to be interesting as we go through the rest of the season with him and see what kind of machinations he gets into.
We talked about it a couple of weeks ago. I like you said, I'm just so intrigued. He's my number one hated character right now, in a good way. I think the actor is phenomenal.
Right.
The role is great for him, but I hate him. Right, he's that Cersei kind of character, that Littlefinger type of character.
He's kind of my Littlefinger, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He gets under your skin. He's doing a great job of doing so. But I'm just so intrigued to learn what is it that motivates him besides the power, the throne, but again, the relationship with his wife, the relationship now with him giving these orders to his daughter. Does he have any goodness? I mean, does he have any goodwill in him? Is he? I don't know, man. I'm very intrigued to learn more about him. Hopefully in weeks to come, as more crazy decisions probably are going to happen as we move along in the story. But speaking of moving along, man, one of the most foreshadowing scenes, and just a scene that really stood out to me, Johnny, was the moment in which Rhaenyra drew blood, man, and she had to kill that boar, and she just. It wasn't just a kill, just like, oh, my life is. It was like that was, anger and hatred and being upset that her dad might, switch his decision. Obviously, being upset about her best friend now being her stepmom. So there's a lot of anger in that moment, man. And I think there's a lot of foreshadowing too that you know, we know how things played out for Danny in regards to just that anger that kind of ultimately led her to become the Mad Queen of a certain extent. But your thoughts, Johnny, on this this moment of blood on her hands now?
Well, they say a Targaryen turns out one of two different ways, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the accumulation of all. It was the accumulation of all that anger between her friend, losing her best friend, her father, losing her mother, losing her brother.
Oh, John, not to cut you off again. The stack is coming back in, bro. It's back
right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird because the setting shows that it's not. That's strange. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I can hear just a little bit lingering in the back a little bit. And while I figure that out, John, I'm gonna bring Meg back in. She's back, ready to go. Welcome back, Meg.
Bingo.
I know, right? Hey, I love it. I love it. Hey, but Meg, while Johnny figures out the stack situation, just tossing it to you in regards to you haven't missed much. We were just kind of talking about Rhaenyra and this this kill, this
I heard you guys.
murder streak.
Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yep, your screen went out, but I could see your logo. Your
yeah, I don't know what's going on with my screen.
No worries.
Fine.
As long as you hear that
I'm sorry.
lovely voice.
So what were you guys talking about?
No, Rhaenyra. Was that foreshadowing maybe of this, that again, that anger, that hate of her killing the animal? Is there more to it, or is it just a survival tactic?
I think the white stag was more symbolic than the kill.
Ooh, good call. Good call.
Because like earlier, someone explained what it represented.
Oh, did I miss that? Do you remember what that comment was?
They said that the white stag represents whatever for Prince Aegon. So it was like to honor him.
Oh, the first, the Conqueror, Aegon the Conqueror?
The baby. It was to honor.
Okay. Gotcha. Yes, if that person, if you're still here, let us know what the symbolism and the metaphor behind that. Let us know if you're still here with the deeper meaning. But you think there's more to it, you were saying, Meg?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. No, I agree. And I'll definitely do some more looking into that symbolism. But speaking of symbolism and just striking images, I really enjoyed this moment here because, again, I thought Patty was probably my MVP as far as his acting in this episode. But he tells his wife, his close friend now, Allison, that he ultimately made the decision because it was, number one, driven because of love, but number two, it was also driven because he didn't want his brother on the throne. But love can sometimes clout and interfere and mess with your decision making. Meg, what did you think about that scene in regards to his truth of why he wanted Rhaenyra to be on the throne?
Leads with his heart.
Yeah.
Leads with his heart.
Which is a good thing in some points, but not when you're running.
When has it been a good thing, Elliot?
Man, especially in this world of Game of Thrones. I'm trying to think. Did love conquer? Did love
the baby boy, I guess.
The baby Aegon? Yeah,
Aegon.
Well, I'm listening, man. We'll see what comes of Aegon. There's like Johnny said, when you have a Targaryen, that coin's in the air. They're gonna be a good person or a bad person. So we'll see. He could be a little Dennis the Menace, little Chucky doll when he gets to age, killing things. But yeah, love in the Game of Thrones world doesn't always work out. So you are totally right. Love does not always. But I mean, do you? Even with that being said, I don't know if I'm putting Daemon on that throne. With love, no love. I think that was a good call because Daemon right now is, as we've seen, he's unhonorable, he's untrustworthy, he makes rash decisions. So I don't know. I think that was a good decision to at least put her in that position so far. Oh, there she is. She's back. But no, again, I just thought that scene was so powerful. Here it is. It was just the comment he was referring to.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, we'll head over to that scene here in a bit. But yeah, again, I just thought the Patty to me just really kind of showcased why he's such a great actor. And again, just hearing his truth was a really powerful moment for me. And I'm really, it's not a lot of vulnerable moments that the King has really kind of expressed his when he does make decisions. We don't really get a full understanding of that, but we finally kind of hear one of his decisions being made was nice to see. But we're now at that point, Meg, and I want you to, share your thoughts. And again, this is where the king had to be a king and had to have some help and assistance in killing this this animal. So go ahead, Meg. Let us know what you thought about this lack of leadership in this moment from the king.
It's not even that he got help and assistance, right? So say they were duck hunting, if people had gathered ducks and released them for the king to wrestle or shoot or whatever,
Yeah.
that's one thing. But to bring the duck to him, I know it's not a duck, but
right,
might as well be. It's just, it was just a show of it all. He just looked. I feel like he lacks self-awareness, right? He needs to sit down with somebody. He's gone through a lot of trauma. It's like, are you not aware that this is just not giving power? It's not giving anything. It seemed like they're running the show and he's just a figurehead. And honestly, what I wish we had more of out of all these 3 episodes, that's my cat having the zoomies. Out of all of these episodes, I wish that we could see what people are saying when he's not in the room. Like, I want to see more of those conversations and not just the council while he's sitting there. I want to see what's really going on because I know I just need more of the politic.
That's a good point. Yeah, I would love, and I think we'll definitely probably see more of people's thoughts, especially probably when he's dead. Everyone got something to say when someone's no longer around. But yeah, I think that's a good point you bring up there in regards to this kind of moment. And I don't want to say to his defense, but just knowing again that he was given the throne kind of reluctantly, and it wasn't, a straight path of, he was born to be this leader. It kind of just fell in his lap. And also 10 years of peace. And to be fair to him, I'll say this. The man really didn't get the proper grieving, as far as he married right away. He, got another kid right away. A lot of stuff was, again, he's a king, but a lot of stuff was thrown at him in a very quick amount of time, especially when you have 10 years of just peace and everything's going well. You got your wife, you got your daughter, you got dragons, the kingdom's thriving, and then boom, just at a drop of a dime, everything's kind of gets thrown at him. And it's a lot. So I can kind of understand the weakness to an extent. But in these weak times, you need a strong leader, and he's definitely shown that he is not that. But like you guys say, this moment here just kind of proved more to that conversation that he's just not cut out for the job, and his days are
House of Thrones universe. This king lived a long time.
That's true. Like I said, 10 plus years of peace is something rare that you get in this world. But this was another scene here again. She just that look with the blood in her hair, and like you guys said in the comment, her letting that symbolism of that creature walking away definitely speaks to I think something for the future. I think she has it in her to make these tough decisions, to draw blood, but I think that she is someone that doesn't want, as we've seen in episode 2, she doesn't want bloodshed. She doesn't want war. But if need be, push comes to shove, she can do more than her dad can. But I just love that scene, Meg. Do you have anything to add as far as this kind of striking image? No, Johnny, how's the headphone situation? Are we still working it out, Johnny? I think you're muted, Johnny. Nope, still muted. Let me see here.
Muted me.
There we go. Say something. Yep, it's still, yeah.
I was going to say I think you muted me. So
it's still
tell me how
static.
it sounds right now.
Yeah, it's staticky, man.
Yeah, I was getting booted out and kicked out.
Okay, I'm going to switch over to the other headphones and.
Okay. Yeah. Take your time, man. In the meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, again, shout out to Meg, Johnny, and everyone in the chat. Thumbs up, share, comment, leave your thoughts, theories, predictions, anything you guys have, and we'll try to get to your questions here in a bit. Man, Meg.
Yeah.
Something about Rhaenyra and just badass, just oozes off of her.
I like Rhaenyra because I was thinking about like halfway through this episode, like at first, I was tiptoeing in because Game of Thrones. And about halfway through this episode, I was like, yeah, they got it. They've totally captured everything that we love about Game of Thrones. All of the excitement, the discussion, the analysis. I was like, they captured it. I'm so glad that it just feels like everyone can pick back up where we left off, dive back into it. You know, I'm one of those people that the whole week I have to watch a different YouTuber break down the episode, you know, every single day, you know,
Yeah.
my nuts. And I know I've heard little things, you know, happening in the future, you know, like Nasseria. I have got my eye on that character. I'm always thinking like, what is going on? Because I just feel like it's going to be a force. So I do like how, you know, Game of Thrones has really set the bar. Even watching, you know, Rings of Power before this, I was drawn in at first because of my nostalgia and how beautiful the world is, and I like that they, you know, it was given very Bible, Lord of the
Very
Rings.
biblical moments. Yeah, no, for sure.
Yes,
A lot of striking
and I was
biblical.
just kind of
For sure.
like,
Yeah, Tolkien's like that.
okay, yeah. I mean, I'm over. I'm not over the Bible. It was just predictable, I guess. It was given Big Friendly Giant. I love Stargate, and if there's anybody who likes like Stargate, Stargate often has episodes where they visit, you know, different lands, and they have like little forest creatures and alien creatures, and that took me back to Stargate. I don't know if they were like fairies or nymphs. I'll find it and show it to y'all later. So that really drew me in. But now that feels like a true, like, I guess, childlike fantasy. But you know, House of the Dragon has that realism, like it's
very grounded.
on Earth. You know, like hundreds of years ago, and the stakes seem real, and the characters are relatable. Like I felt like the characters in Rings of Power were absolutely adorable. You know?
Yeah, no, I agree. And again, you know, just bringing it back to House of the Dragon in regards to this again, Renee, she has some of the most mic drop moments of the season so far. Last week, we're getting the egg, and now killing the bull, and everyone, even her dad. Look at that face of Viserys. Like, what? I couldn't even get that. What is going on here? I don't know, man. She's just so such a cool character. I just love everything that she has going for her. But kind of transition into this second half of the episode for me, and to me again, this is where the you know, things were kind of slowing down to the sense of we can get to the action sequences. But again, the last little moment before we get into the action moments is that Otto tells his daughter, "It is now time for you to, you know, we got this 4 plan, you know, strategy of number 1, you know, reach out to the king, number 2, gain his trust, marry the king, give the child, and now the 4th mission is now that child that you gave birth to, I'm gonna need you to make him the king." Meg, that conversation again, I wish that there was a little bit more pushback from Allison, which again, I want that backstory of why she is just, I know it's the times and you got to listen to your father, but it just seems just so like there's no pushback at all from Allison, which makes me think that there's a little bit of this that she's actually happy with, and it's kind of, she wants these things to do to play into fruition. But your thoughts, Meg, on again this 4th part of the plan to take over everything, of telling his daughter to now make your son Aegon the heir to the throne.
Whenever that scene came up, I was like, okay, so this has literally just been an ongoing thing this entire time jump, you know, since they got married. Like, it seems like it wasn't even like every now and then that he's like in her ear.
Every night, like maybe.
Always, constantly, he's in her ear. And the imagery, just as a lady, I was just thinking of the way she was throughout the conversation. She was having some pregnancy woes. She was, you know, massaging her aching back, you know, leaning over, taking some weight off her back and stuff. And I was just like, oh my gosh, if my dad told me like, hey, get pregnant by this guy, and like, so weird. And then like, I'm sitting there like big and pregnant, and like my dad's like telling me to like, you know, putting it in real time. You know, my dad's like, hey, tell your husband this. I was like,
right.
I was like, the way she was sitting there, you know, I was like, is that not enough? Has she not done enough?
Have I not done enough, mother?
I would be like, I've done enough.
And to your point, Meg, I mean, I knew it, but just since you're bringing it up now, I mean, she's pregnant with another baby. Male, female, we don't know. We'll find out. But I mean, it's just like you said, Meg. It's just like an ongoing. All right, I fell in love with the king, and now I'm the queen, and now I gave birth to a son. Now I'm pregnant again. Now you want me? It's just an ongoing thing. And like I said, I'm just waiting for the moment to see if there's any pushback from Allison. If there's any like, no, I'm not. I've done everything you've said. Can I just breathe? Can I just chill for a moment? Can I just, enjoy maybe being a queen for a few days? But
right. So
yeah.
after the ceremony, how soon was it? Did they give them a day, or did they give her a month before they were like, "Hey, make a baby, make a baby, make a baby"? Like,
yeah.
Jeez, Dad.
Exactly.
Whoa.
Yeah. I hear you. And like I said, maybe next week we'll see that second. By then, Aegon will be 5 and whoever this other bit, be 3 or 2 years old. So it's crazy. Johnny, man, I don't know if the mic's situated yet, but if so, man, your thoughts on
it? I think it is. How it is?
No, I'm still. Do you hear it, Meg? I'm hearing it very still staticky on my end.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but it's like a robot.
Oh, like a robot.
Yeah.
Oh, like a robot.
Yeah, still. Meg, do you still hear static? Yeah. Well, we'll get it figured out, Johnny. We'll make sure we get your thoughts on this, man. We'll definitely check back in with you here in a bit, my friend.
Definitely Johnny's thoughts on that.
Yeah. I'll definitely keep a pin.
He was making some faces. Like.
Yeah. I'll put a pin on that, Johnny, before we wrap up to make sure get your thoughts on Allison, if she is at all maybe enjoying this, if this is that fairy tale that girls during this time, you got to have kids, you got to marry highborns, or if she's just going along with the punches and maybe making her own moves.
That's my issue
without her dad.
No one. Like, she has no motive. It seems like. Even if you have, she told her dad that Rhaenyra would make a good queen.
That is a good point.
She got her back.
Yeah, good point.
She did.
A couple times in this episode, she stuck up for her when the ladies were talking about her, and then to your point, again, yeah, she mentioned that she So Allison, she's 50-50, man. She's 50-50.
But it just seems like I just don't know what. Even if she had negative motives, at least she would have a motive, but. Right. It just seems like she's just there.
Emotions.
Yeah, a little.
Which, again, I want to know more about her mom, and I want to know more about Otto, because I can't remember who mentioned it a couple weeks ago, but someone said they think that Otto might have had something to do with the wife dying. Maybe she didn't take orders, and he had to get her out of there. So I wonder if Allison, if she saw that as if I don't listen to my dad, he might kill me. I don't know if that's because again, like you said, Meg, there's literally what is the motives besides just listen to your dad taking orders.
And I wouldn't be surprised if down the line, if we're just going with how Game of Thrones go, if her motive are her children. I'm like,
very Cersei Lannister.
Does she have a strong connection to I don't think. Yeah, every time I see her, she's holding the baby and stuff like that. So I don't know. But she had to have seen this coming. And maybe her defending Rhaenyra is just making sure that she looks good. Because why wouldn't you want the best for your child?
Yeah, it's a tough line to walk. Number one, pleasing the king and listen to your dad, and also being a good friend and all that. So it's not a task that's easy. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But speaking of task and not easy and war, none is what I'm trying to get at here. Not a good segue, but we're dealing with war, Meg. And this is where this, I don't know, Meg, I'm going to be honest with you. This is when the episode kind of not lost me, but I was kind of disappointed.
Yeah.
Number one, I thought the war or lack of wasn't, it almost tried to feel like they were trying to recreate the Battle of the Bastards a little bit.
Yeah.
But the tension wasn't there. It felt rushed. Obviously, we'll talk about the king or the craft.
Hard knock off Hard Home to me. Hard Home is my favorite.
Yeah. No, hard. Oh, yes. A lot of great. Again, this show, the bar is like you talked about earlier. The bar is so high with the show, and it's just like when we don't get those moments, it kind of feels a little lackluster. And
they missed the mark.
They did. They left. Now they gave us enough time. I mean, you can do a lot. They gave us, it was like 25 more minutes left in the episode when they gave us this moment here, but we see them strategizing, and I don't know the gentleman's name, but it seems to be a cousin or a relative of Corlys, but he mentions how Daemon's been kind of lacking, hasn't been a good companion in this war. And speaking of Daemon, he comes in on his dragon, and and looking all badass and whatnot. But Meg, your thoughts on just again this war or lack of intensity, but more importantly, your thoughts on Damon just kind of losing it on the messenger here.
Yeah, I mean, typical Damon. Typical Damon. That opening scene
Hothead
was one of the more terrifying scenes to me. Was that opening scene, just because I was just thinking about, like, I would just hate to be an everyday citizen in Game of Thrones land. You know, just the death by dragon fire, always imminent. Like, I could see how that could strike a nerve. Yeah, I think she's going to choose her son over, because as we've seen, once, the mothers go hard. We just got, to your point, we were talking about Elizabeth Olsen. We just got that whole movie.
Wanda just destroying all universes.
Cross universes. We know what Cersei is willing to do for her children. And I feel like, becoming a mother might have matured her, changed her, switched her her values. Like, it seems like she has all these people in her ear all the time. She's popped out these kids, and why wouldn't she want, like every mother I know, if they say, hey, do you want your son to be king, or do you want him to be related to the king? Everyone would be like, I want my son to be king.
The best,
So, I think she would have their back more than she has anyone else's back. I mean, nobody is there, rooting for Alicent hopes and dreams. She's just a little incubator at this point. I hate to say that word, but that's how they're treating her.
No, for sure. 100%. But going back to just Damon, you said, this is predictable, right? Hothead, and taking in that. How did you interpret that moment with Damon, as far as he got the letter, he's pissed? Was it too little too late moment for Damon, that he felt like his brother was kind of not on his side, even though he went against his orders? Or is it just Damon being a hothead? He beat up the messenger. Just Damon being a hothead. Well, speaking of hothead, I don't want to say confused. I wasn't confused by the scene, but I guess this was a part of their plan to have Damon kind of be used as bait. He goes where the crab feeder is. He kind of brings them in, which again, the crab feeder to me was just boohoo. It was just like I don't know. Very stupid strategy. Why would you send all your men to kill this just one person? Seems to be very stupid and short-sighted and short-minded for me. But he eventually gets all the men in one circle, or most of them, and lo and behold, Lord Corlys, their backup, their army, they come in from behind. Again, a smart strategy. And then we see the dragons come in which there are 2 dragons in this scene. We get one dragon that's being rolled by Corlys' son.
Yeah.
And I don't know who that second dragon was.
We got a new dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who that rider was.
Down the name.
Let me pull it up here. Did it say it? Because I didn't see it in the subtitle. Did it say who was on that second dragon in the subtitle way? Because I do not, because I wouldn't imagine, that wasn't Rhaenyra, obviously. That wasn't his twin sister. So I wasn't sure who the heck that second dragon was during that moment there. But again, this crab feeder was a bit of a letdown for me. But why did Damon beat up the messenger? Again, I think it was just a matter of too little too late. And like, oh, now 3 years later, you're going to come and send help, when we were losing all these men and losing the war. Even though, to Johnny's point earlier, y'all got 2 dragons and y'all losing 3. What's going on here? That made no sense to me at all. But did you have the name down, you said, Meg, or who that second dragon rider was potentially?
I couldn't find it.
I thought it was the same dragon. Now I'm gonna try to hear. Let me bring this up here.
Dragon. That's the third dragon that they've shown us.
I'm gonna try to pull it up here, because again, we see Corlys' son, his kind of grayish, whitish dragon, and then there was a second dragon that came up that would look completely different. So I'm scrolling through the scene here to pull it up here. But again, just kind of tossing it back to you, Meg. Like I said, did you feel the sense of dread and war like we've gotten in previous Game of Thrones battles?
So I feel like I keep bringing up previous shows or different shows because I'm a nerd. But I just recently watched the newest season of C, and they had like a little battle, a little standoff with some tribe in the mountains. and I was just getting that same energy. I wasn't getting war. I was just getting like
a scuffle.
Yeah.
So here's not to cut you off, man. Here's the one dragon. This is the one dragon. So, and we know that is Corliss's son's dragon. That's one dragon. We can tell that's distinctively, it has white scales, grayish, whitish, blackish look to it. So there's the one dragon. And I'm gonna try to see if I can find. I don't want to play it because I don't want HBO to pull it down. Let me see if I can find a second dragon, because there's no doubt a second dragon in the mix.
And it's not Caraxes.
Hey, Johnny, you're back.
Johnny's back. Yeah, he is back.
Your thoughts, man.
But I don't think, because who else would have written Damon's dragon?
Yeah.
Let me see. I'm trying to find. Okay, here. Okay.
I promise y'all, it's a new one.
No, I believe you, Meg. I do think it's a new dragon.
So that's strange though, because the sea snake was like, well, we never have dragons, so it's like, did Damon get an extra dragon on a lease from the keep? I mean, where'd we get these other dragons from?
Yeah, I'm looking through the scene. We still got his dragon. He's screaming, yelling. I mean, it's a lot of carnage. I'm looking at kind of rewatching the scene. There's a lot of blood. Don't get us wrong. It's a pretty violent, brutal scene. Literally, there's blood squirting all over the screen as I'm watching now. Heads being chopped off. Okay.
I think the battle was just, we're underwhelmed because of how it ended. If it had ended differently, then I think we'd have different views on the battle.
And they did build up this crab feeder as this really awesome bad guy that was, I didn't expect he was going to be done by this episode this quickly.
Right. Yeah.
And and not to even be able to see his demise also.
Can y'all see that on your end? I'm trying to zoom in, but we can really see that's not the same dragon. That other dragon was white with gray scales, and this is a red. I mean, it might be Damon's dragon, but someone else is riding it. But
no, it's not Caraxes. Caraxes is volatile. I know Caraxes.
He's red.
Yeah,
Caraxes,
and I mean it has
a hot head dragon like
call him like the red worm, right?
Yeah. So I don't think that. I think we got multiple dragons in this moment here.
Where are we getting these dragons from here?
Right, it's popping up like Pokemon. But speaking of popping up, man, listen, I'm not a fan of off-screen kills. I'm thinking of I can't think of the season, but I remember when Stannis Baratheon, when I think it was Brienne that killed him. Was it Brienne that killed Stannis in the war? And we didn't see Stannis die. I was like, oh, is Stannis still alive? Because we didn't see him, actually get the final blow, but he died. But I'm not a fan of off-screen deaths, and I'm not a fan of this death. I mean, it is pretty brutal. It's gruesome. Damon brings him out with half of his body attached to him, blood and guts and all that stuff. But I don't know, Johnny, man. Am I thinking too much into it? Would you have liked to have?
No. I think I would have liked to see the death blow at least.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have to see him being severed in half, but at least let's see the sword blow.
The sword. Yeah.
Let's see something. I mean, I think they did I think you said they wanted to make it like the Battle of the Bastards. Well, of course, this is like a low key Battle of the Bastards.
Yeah.
But as far as what Meg was saying earlier about how Damon is a man with no morals for waving the white flag. Well, they did all come after him to kill him after he waved the white flag. So in his defense, it's like, okay,
right, they were.
I mean, of course, he did plan to kill them in the first place. So I don't know which is. He had the plan to kill them but they were true to form and tried to kill him. And
or maybe they knew not to trust him. They knew not to trust him.
Yeah.
But the move was just
weak move. But to be honest with you, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Johnny.
And this guy was so great, and if he was he was able to hold them at bay for 3 years and totally wipe out the sea snake's seafaring abilities to the point of where they're saying that they only have a couple weeks rations or something, and they're gonna be done.
Right.
And then just to not see what made this person so strong, and what did he have some supernatural powers? Did he
I don't even think he can speak, Johnny. I don't even think the crab feeder spoke a word at all. And to your point, Meg, and definitely let me know your thoughts. I don't want to nitpick, but it was the weakest element of the episode to me was his war or lack of. To Johnny's point, they've been holding off 2 dragons for 3 years. But yet, and again, this just goes back to someone mentioned stormtroopers earlier. Those, the crab feeders, people like y'all can't shoot one guy running on the battlefield. Like, I'm like, okay, they must be the elite of the elite. They're almost like Death Rocky. Like, they must be true warriors that can withhold dragons and withhold the armies of Westeros. But they can't shoot one guy that's just running. He's not zigzagging. He's running in a straight line towards.
I thought he got shot twice, or did he?
Yeah, eventually, but
he did. But like they should have
19,000 shots to get him. Again, I'm nitpicking, but I just found it it was a little bit unbelievable for me to again just thinking of the act of war. They've been fighting for 3 years, but yet they can't shoot one person. And they can. I don't know. It was just a little bit too as they say here.
Elliot, I blame you because in the pre-show, in the watch along, you were like, yeah, this one has action, guys. Oh, it has action.
I mean, listen, I'll rewatch it again because even when I was looking for that second dragon, it's brutal. I mean, there's a lot of blood. It's satisfying to an extent. It's the most action we've gotten in the show so far. But I again, Meg, we talked about the bar is so high, right? Again, Battle of the Bastards. Someone even mentioned Blackwater. I mean, there's so many epic battles. Hard home. I mean, there's just so much incredibleness going on, and this one was weak. And then, like everyone said, when you kill someone off screen, come on.
It's like tomato. He was moving though. The math didn't math. No.
Let's just say, my man is the Flash. Damon's the Flash. All of a sudden, he's just running and dodging. All right, House of Dragons. I'll play your game for this, and this better be the only time. The next war better be 10 times better. Exactly. He was running at a 4.2.
They're just teasing us, they're just teasing. They're just giving us that little taste. We're like sharks in the water now. Exactly. Everyone's so deprived. We've been waiting a long time for this.
Listen, Meg, we all know what season 7 and 8 did to us. So we have very quick memories to remember how things wrapped up.
So was that Grayscale? I thought he was surviving dragon burns or something. What? Wanted to see the inside of the cave.
I want to see my man's lair. I want to see, him leading his people. We didn't get any of that, man. We didn't get any of that.
Show us more about what was happening in the last couple of years and why he was so strong.
Johnny, like I said, man, I'm not a fan of off-screen kills. I'm not off-screen development. I don't like it. I do not like that. But hopefully,
was there anything Johnny missed? What Johnny missed?
Well, going back, Johnny, you missed on the conversation with Allison. Do you feel like at this point in her life is there any like inside of her, does she feel like this is good, I'm enjoying this power, or do you think there is still a little bit of inside of her just like, I don't like anything my dad's having me do? Like, where are you at with Allison? Do you think she's going along with the motions, or does she have some?
I think she's going along with the motions. I think she's been turned. I don't think that she's going to be resisting her father, and she's going to go along with the whole plan.
Is that a missed opportunity though? Is that just too generic? Like, there's no pushback. Again, I get you're this time you listen to your dad, or you're gonna get punishment, but it's just like, I wish there was, I don't know, I would feel like it'd be more dynamic, a more complexity to her if there was pushback.
I think it's going to be her against Damon and Rhaenyra.
A 3-way. Yeah
Like, it's going to be like they're going to join together somehow.
David boost. He did.
Yeah.
He sure did. And also getting sunned by his niece last week, throwing an egg and just being embarrassed in front of his men. He definitely needed that boost.
Oh, did you see something about that scene? Is that I haven't seen the video yet, but apparently that scene was shot in front of a volume.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people commentate on that. It was, you couldn't tell. I'll tell you that. It looked beautiful.
It was
definitely on set.
It was flawless, because I think they were saying that because of the fact that they weren't moving around much, they were just kind of like standing on the bridge, made it seem like even more real.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. No, that is a good point. And we've come so far with technology now that it's, it's just seamless at this point. But wrapping it up, guys, before we call it a night, Meg, final thoughts. And I haven't seen the trailer for next week. I'm going to watch tonight and maybe do like a trailer breakdown tomorrow. But your thoughts on, again, just how you're feeling 3 episodes in. Where do you place this episode? And what do you hope to see in the weeks ahead?
I placed it in the 3rd slot.
3rd slot, yep.
I would have loved to just see more politicking. And that would have been enough for me to take it up there because I need to see more at the round table talk, but I'm really, really excited about next week. My hopes are high. I'm enjoying this ride. I'm enjoying House of the Dragon. I feel like they've captured the spirit like seamlessly, especially with Rhaenyra. She brings it every time. I see awards. I'm one of those people, I don't like to watch the behind the scenes and the set and stuff. Game of Thrones is real. So
you don't want to break that wall of like, no, it's all real. It's based on true events.
Actor interviews and stuff, like they can keep that. So
I hear you. So bottom 3 for you, or out of the 3 is the bottom, and you're hoping to see more politics and maybe some better war scenes moving forward. Johnny, man, tossing it back to you, bro, in regards to a general take where you place this episode and what you hope to see next week.
I placed it 3rd also, and I think that it's kind of interesting because a lot of people are saying it's their favorite episode, but it wasn't for me. And usually I'll be drawn to something like an episode with more action, especially with all the gore that we had. It's kind of my cup of tea as far as Game of Thrones goes, but this was kind of a little bit of a weak battle, and we talked about all the different things, the Daemon being the Usain Bolt of Westeros, and running away from the arrows, and just not being able to see the kill of the crab catcher. But what I want to see next week is I'm really interested to see what happens now that the crab keepers, or the crab feeder. I'm sorry, crab feeder. The crab feeder is done. That's done.
Johnny, I don't really cut you off. Your mic is really messed up again.
I heard most of his. I heard,
but it's
and he's saying, and crab feeder is just.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. It's static. It's like
I'm curious to see what's next though. But Johnny, we heard your message.
Yeah, I heard everything you said was just
distorted.
Every word you said was distorted.
Oh, okay, I'm not sure what. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm not sure what's. It's still staticky right now. It's still staticky right now.
It's like lagging a little bit on my end. But from what I gather, you're excited to see more of the politics. You're excited to see more of the war and the ramifications of winning this war now. It's definitely something to look forward to.
And I want to see the Valerians come back to the council and see what happens with that family.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, and see who Rhaenyra ultimately decides to if she wants to marry her cousin or not, which something you don't always say every week, but it's Game of Thrones, ladies and gentlemen. It's that type of show, keeping it in the family. But Meg, outro on that. I'm gonna probably stay on for like a couple more minutes. If you guys have any other further questions, I'll stay on for just a little bit. But I'm gonna let my guests head out and get everything. Hope they have a good day off tomorrow. But Meg, having you go first. Again, it's always a pleasure to see you. If you want to let the people know where they can find you and talk a little bit about your video that you dropped yesterday.
Hi, everyone. I'm Meg. My page is Easier Said with Meg, and we're going to tackle some tough topics, some things that are easier to say than done, as well as some fun topics. I love all things nerdy, all things geeky, so check out my page. Thanks, Elliot. Always a pleasure. I love this community. I'm going to be sad when House of the Dragon goes off. But luckily, we have several more weeks. So
yes, we have 7 more weeks in Westeros and in the Game of Thrones, and I'm sure by the time we get to that 10th week, our brains will be exploded with just awesomeness. Hopefully, again, we got a little bit of a weaker episode, but I'm very confident that this show has a lot more to come as far as positive stuff to say. So, Meg, hopefully we can see you again next week. I appreciate you again, and I'll catch you on the next one. All right. Johnny, I don't know if your mic's working or not, man. The outro out, but if not,
I don't know if it is or not. I don't know if it is or not. You told me still having issues, or is it still having issues, or is it any better if I do this or not? Okay.
Well, I will say on behalf of Johnny, definitely I'll leave his links in the description to the video, guys. So check out his information, and hopefully we'll have him back next week.
Thanks. Right.
Take care, man. All right, guys. Well, again, shout out to Meg, shout out to Johnny, and shout out to every one of you all that tune in tonight. Again, I'm gonna probably another 10 minutes or so. So if you guys have any other questions or any theories or predictions, or again, I've had them on as guests. If anyone else wants to maybe pop in for a little bit and share their 2 cents, the stage is open. But if you guys want to outro out, we'll definitely do that too. It's like I said, overall, the first half to me, just kind of replaying into my head, played out a lot better than the second half. I felt the character motives, the conversations, Patty's performance. Viserys, he's a weak king, but he's still a good man. That's why I root for him, man. I always root for the good guy in a certain extent in this story. But I definitely can't stand behind a lot of his lack of decision making. But I thought that his moments were great. I cannot get over Rhaenyra, man. She's just such a great character for me so far, and I mentioned it several times. I'm not looking forward to the transition of the actresses switching, the roles. I'm really loving Millie, I think is her name. I'm really loving her portrayal of the character so far, and I just love the scenes with her. But again, that second half of the episode to me was just not what I wanted it to be. But we got another person coming in before we wrap it up. Matt coming back. What's going on, Matt?
What's going on? I figured I'd wait till the end, just because this episode wasn't, it was all right.
A little lacking.
It was okay. There was some slow, it was kind of slow for a moment. I said, "Ooh, this is kind of slow," but there was some meat in there. There was a little meat with the potatoes, a little bit.
Definitely. So, what were your highlights, and what were those moments that definitely for you didn't work?
I like Damon. So anytime Damon's coming in, I'm like, "What you about to do? Like, what you doing?" I'm always tickled by Damon.
Did he talk in this episode?
Yeah, but I don't need him to talk. I told you guys, Damon looks at people for about 5 minutes before he says anything. That's true,
but I don't even think he spoke. That means just goes to show you the power. He laughed. Yeah, he beat someone's ass.
He scoffed, and he beat up people. I don't need Damon to do
He dodged 1,000 arrows as well. So
man, he was rolling though. I was like, oh, Damon is rolling. I enjoyed it. I don't understand how they missed. I was like, nobody can hit him. Nobody.
Hey, someone said stormtroopers earlier. I was like, that is 100% accurate. Like, and that's why I was being critical, but for real, like, how y'all gonna want me to believe that they've been fighting this war for 2 years, but they can't shoot one person on an open battlefield?
And from above, clear, and I mean, it was foggy. There was a lot of smoke and whatnot. But I'm a Damon fan. Damon goes hard.
I know he wasn't gonna die. I mean, of course they weren't gonna kill him there. But I'm like, y'all can at least heighten up the tension. Maybe get a couple more arrows in the shoulder and in the leg. But
something. And I was like, what's he doing? I said, oh, he shot. I said, oh, they've got him surrounded. I said, what are we getting ready to do?
Yeah. And again, it felt so Battle of the Bastards. Like, because I remember Jon Snow, he got his sword and the armies was coming to him. And then Sansa brought the veil. It reminded me a lot of that, but it didn't have the same gravitas, nor did it have the same stakes.
This is a baby.
This is a baby.
I was like, this is a war. It didn't feel war-esque. I don't understand Crab Feeder's motive. I was like, what's his motive?
I don't even know. I mean, he don't even deserve a name at this point.
No. I was like, what's his point?
Nameless character.
How come he looks like this? I'm a little confused. There's some backstory that's needed for the crab, for sure. I didn't get that.
I don't watch I don't watch the making of. Sometimes I do, but I'm gonna go back because I want to know their back. Like, why was there lack of story for him? I don't even know if anyone at home. If you watched, did you watch it, Mac? The whole behind the scenes.
I didn't know.
Okay.
No, I usually don't either. And I usually don't watch the ending to know what's going to happen. But now, I've started doing that too. So I can see what's coming. So I kind of can get a little
I
excited.
don't
But
know.
Crab
Maybe
feeder,
I'm nitpicking. I just feel like it was just built up for this crab feeder. If he continues to go down, he has the siege, he has us dug in, he's been battling for 2 years, and then kill him off screen.
Yeah.
Come on.
I needed to see in the cave. I wanted to hear him talk. I wanted to know why these people were following him. I wanted to know what his motive is. Like, what is it he's trying to control? I have so many questions about the crab feeder.
Even one line is looking at Damon like, you might have won, but you'll never be a king or something, like you're weak or something. I just needed something more than just a face or a voiceless person that get chopped in half.
I think they're trying to tell us something about Damon too. I think this was more about telling me that Damon is 5150 a little bit. I was like, okay, so he's crazy. I was like, because I just couldn't figure out the point. I just really couldn't. I don't know. It stood out because it was just wrong. Because that's where it went wrong. The war is where I was like, what are we doing? Why are we and dragons? Whose dragon is what? Who is this white-haired man up here? What's questions.
It was a lot of questions to be said. And I guess the big question for you, Mac, as far as next week, now that the 2 years have passed, we go back home. Is Damon going to be welcomed to open arms? Is he going to have this hatred, this anger towards his brother for the lack of support for the last 2 years? What do you think we're running into next week?
I don't know. Didn't nobody tell Damon to go start this war? He acted on his own accord, and they almost left him hanging. And then my question is, did he get the support that he needed, or was that letter just enough to get everybody excited enough to win it? I was like, did they even show up?
Right. What was it, 2,000 or 10 ships, 2,000 men or something of that nature? Yeah, I don't even think there was enough time for them to
show up. It seems like Damon just was like hot, and then he just moved. They said that he's impulsive. He just. I'm like, you didn't tell me that you're gonna be the bait. I just watched you be the bait.
I was gonna ask you that, Max. So was that a plan that Damon spoke to Corliss to do that, or that was just Damon? That was a freestyle. That was a follow my moves, follow my league, and because it seemed, I'm gonna rewatch it again. But looking back in my mind, Damon was surprised. He was like, "Wait, you're here? The dragon here?" He looked very surprised by everything that was going on.
It was weird because
very weird.
We're like, all right, this is what we need to do. We need to draw him out of the cave. Okay, cool. How are we gonna draw him out the cave? Who's big enough for them to come out? And then they said,
I guess, not to cut you off, there was a scene where Corliss' son was like, Corliss said, who's going to be the bait, or who's going to be the one that wants to die? And he said Damon. So maybe that was part of the strategy.
Damon's the only thing that the crab feeder apparently wanted. That was enough to draw him out. So Damon, without saying anything, because like you said, I don't think he said anything in this episode. I can't remember him saying anything. Yeah, he just you just gonna do the plan? Like, you're not gonna say, well, this is what we about to do. Right. You're just gonna
break. All right, on three.
Yeah, like we just supposed to follow suit. So you just gonna come up here and wait. This was a mess. This was a little bit messy. The more that we talk about it, I'm like, oh, what did happen?
And I mean, I'm just trying to, I guess, make excuses for the show. It just kind of shows, again, like you just mentioned, Mac, that it does show his lack of leadership, lack of communication, and that things are chaotic and things just kind of happen. So maybe it kind of plays more into just the foundation of Damon, the character, that you just at a drop of a hat, he can go on a suicide mission and come out, with an arrow on his chest, and I don't know.
It was insane. It was
execution wasn't great.
I like dragons though, and we got to see another dragon for sure. I was like, oh look, there's another dragon. I was like, he's pretty.
I agree.
But I got questions. But that was the weakest part of the episode.
Yeah, the second half.
Top half, I was like, okay. I like Rhaenyra. The very beginning, she was working my nerve. I'm like, look, you gotta act like a queen.
Daughter.
Yeah, you're having a tantrum. You need to say what it is that you want. You need to be clear.
Yep.
And you show yourself as a queen. But when she came back, I said, oh, she got her swag back. She had lost it for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Rhaenyra was running around acting like a little spoiled kid. Like, look, go to your daddy, say, this is what I want to do. Yep. How can I be the best queen? Because this is what we're up against. Am I going to be the queen? Do you still support your decision now that you have this little boy? Yeah. Instead of sitting around mad because your little brother having a 2-year-old birthday party, just mad. having a whole tantrum. What are you doing?
Showing out. I mean, it's in their blood, man. We had the king showing out in the party. We had Daemon last week showing out. I mean, this is just Targaryens. They just like to show out, I guess. But just a question I got for you, Mac, as far as Alicent. We talked about her earlier in the show, but how are you feeling about her? Do you feel like this is just listen to my dad, do as he says, he knows best, or is there a little bit of like she's liking what's going on, or how are you feeling with Alicent so far?
Alicent, every episode has gotten more and more mature to me. And so this time I get to see her move as a queen, and she moves with grace and elegance, and she handles it. She's sitting amongst the women that are super gossiping, but she knows how to kind of navigate. Yeah, she's queen. But I figured she was going to be queen.
She's her, a high tower.
Yeah. She comes. She was sitting out at the tree. She pulled rank, but she didn't pull it real nasty. She was like, I'm the queen. Your father wants you to come. She's moving like a queen, in my opinion. And I figured, like the king, she would have been the best option for queen for him. She just showed herself to be kind.
Yep.
And patient and just doing her thing. So Alicent as a queen does not bother me, and she still doesn't seem to have a strong motive for her child to be jumping over Rhaenyra.
Right.
She said it. She also said, but who wouldn't want my son to be king? She said, who wouldn't want that for their son?
Right.
And I said, that was legit. That was honest. But she says, I think Rhaenyra would make a good queen. So it's going to boil down to, and the dad has been clear. He's on his way out, though. He's so sickly. I said, he got off the horse panting. He ain't big. What is he panting for?
Yep.
I said, oh, this dude here. But Alicent, I like her. I like her as a queen. I think she's handling it well. She does get manipulated by her father from the outside looking in, but I don't think she's as dumb as we think she is. Everybody says that she's dumb. Everybody says the king is weak. That's not what I'm seeing from over here.
Yeah. I when I say Cersei, not into the nature of Cersei, but I think early on in Cersei's, because I just go back to this conversation she had with Robert and to just different characters that she played the game. She was a very Sansa. Sansa was very open-eyed. I'll marry Joffrey. I'll do as I was, as I was told to do. But eventually, she caught on. So I think right now we might be like you mentioned, we might be underestimating Alicent. Maybe she has her own motives that her dad doesn't even know about. Which I would love that moment that she's been, kind of playing him this whole time.
She queen. What more could she really? And she's bearing these kids like a champ. She popped one out. She got another one on the way. She's doing what's she supposed to do?
Do you think she's aware of the illness of the king? Do you think she's aware that he's sickly?
She can't see he missing 2 digits. Like,
did
you see that?
It's pretty obvious.
It's clear.
Yeah.
In him, she can see that his back is probably half gone.
Right. I mean, they did have 2 children coming, so I'm sure she saw scars and marks and all that.
She watches him like a hawk. She's watching her husband constantly. She's checking on him. She a cold queen. Y'all can underestimate her if you want to, but watch how she moves. She had her eyes on the king the whole time. She was checking to see who he was talking to. She sat down. She read what woman do you know in that time that's smart enough to look at the letter? Do you mind if I read it? Yeah, go ahead. Y'all don't be fooled by Alicent. Pay attention. Watch her play chess too. Her daddy didn't raise a fool. She's a little naive at first.
Yeah.
But I think she's she knows she comes. Hey, my Grace, my husband, you okay? You good? She's doing it. Alicent is let's keep an eye on her. She's starting to become more and more interesting to me. She wasn't.
Now because she's a mother, she's a wife, she's a queen. She has a different title now. She has a different perspective on life now. So yeah, I'm very intrigued to learn more about her. I'm more excited to see Olivia Cook play the older version of Alicent more so than I am Emma playing the older version of Rhaenyra. Because I'm a big Olivia Cook fan. I think she's a great actress. But very, very excited to see more of this character. We got another, how did I get the emoji? We got another special guest or a first timer. Again, I'm going to bring you in a second, man, but I just want to make sure you're not a bot or anything. Can you give me a thumbs up in the back room while you're waiting to make sure you hear me? It's a quick little thumbs up, just acknowledgement to make sure that you're not a bot or anything. But I can hear. Yeah, just give me a thumbs, like a physical thumbs up. And okay, cool. All right, so he's not a bot; he's a human being.
Okay, it's a person.
It's a person, not a bot.
Yes,
everyone. Hey, introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about you, man.
My name is G, or you can call me Gennaro. I do reviews on movies and TV shows on YouTube as well.
Okay.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, Damon the GOAT. That's what I really came here to say.
Fans in the building, y'all.
You know what I'm saying? Because Damon is one of those characters that's really he's hiding his true colors at this point as far as like in the plot. But I feel like later on, like you said, like he's kind of like a mute. At some point, he shows everything on his face.
Right.
But I feel like after like the first episode, you know, him just taking L's, and then the second episode took another L.
Yeah.
This was his moment, right? And I feel like, you know, just because of where he's situated in like the three-way tie for the crown right now, it's just like, you know, it's like he was born to be hated. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like Damon is one of those characters that's just it's like you love to hate him, you know. And I just really like that about him right now.
Look at him,
man. Look at your boy.
Look at him.
G, this is your boy. This is your king. This is
He's going crazy. He was moving like Captain America out there, man.
Listen, man, I had to definitely suspend my disbelief. I mean, you know, there's dragons in the sky, so I had to kind of suspend my belief there. But I'm like, man, this man is dodging arrows like it ain't nothing. Man. But G, I want your thoughts, man. And by the way, I didn't even realize you were the one that was, you know, in the chat all day, man, and a lot of comments. So I appreciate your great comments there.
Appreciate.
So now that we see you live in the flesh, man, you know, I asked Mac this, and I want to ask you this: how do you feel about Allison? Are you trusting her? Do you feel like she's playing the game? Is she being played? How do you feel about Allison?
I feel like I feel like she wears her like heart on her sleeve in a sense, but like only for certain characters. So I feel like to everybody else other than like the king and Rhaenyra, she's the only time she's really truthful is around them two. But everybody else, she's kind of like hiding her, not only just her emotions, but like she does the little hand thing, like she destroys her hands. She didn't really do that. She
might be getting more mature. That might be a sign of matureness from her end.
Right. So I feel like she's not deceitful in that sense, but I do get like the old Cersei vibes of like, I feel like she's going to end up just choosing her child and that be her main trope, you know, especially like Johnny said, you know, if it's a boy, it's going to get even crazier. So
that's true.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think she definitely she's taking quote unquote orders for now, but when she has Aegon and if she does have another boy, I mean that's position of power right there. You got two potential heirs to the throne. You're the queen. You're the daughter of the hand of the king. Like right now, I don't know. We might, like Max said, we might be overlooking her because she does seem to just again take orders. She's trying to make amends with her best friend, but she might be that Cersei. We never saw how Cersei came to be. You know, we just walked into the Game of Thrones. We didn't see her development. This might be the origins of a Cersei before even Cersei was here. So
what would make her a Cersei though? Something would have to turn her, because we see her as something would have to turn her.
I think it would have to be Rhaenyra and Aegon. Because if it's going to be something, it's going to have to be something with her child, because at this point she doesn't really have ties as far as like passionate ties to anything in life, you know, that we done seen. But even like her son and maybe future child, we gotta see if she have it first. But I think it would have to be that to actually turn, like once they actually start battling for the throne, of like who's the true heir. Something's going to happen where it's like, all right, nah, I'm team Aegon for life, you know? So
that's when it's going to get juicy, y'all. That's when it's going to become, not that it's not juicy now, but that's going to be such a complex and just tension felt moments of, again, this best friend and choosing her kids, and it's going to be woo-wee. And obviously it's going to be just curious, do y'all think the king is going to make it to next week?
I was just getting ready to ask you, Elliot. Like, I give him 5. I give him 2 more episodes. I give him 2 more. I don't know. That's 5. That's 5.
That's 5. Yeah.
I give him 2 more.
And G, you got 5 too.
And that's where it's going to get interesting because he has spoken his piece about who his heir is, period. It's not about Rhaenyra trying to prove to her daddy. That's not it. She gonna have to queen for real. She's gonna have to show herself. And I don't know how she's gonna win the realm. Although she keep rolling around killing boars and walking through the set looking crazy.
I mean, she might have got some points for that.
This is 2 weeks in a row, y'all. She came and went to Dame and said, "Give me that egg, or we can battle if you want. I don't want, And she did that, and then she walked on camp with the blood. I mean, she dropped, mic drop. She's a queen, y'all. But yeah, I think episode, and it makes sense too. It's 10 episodes. It's the mid-season finale. We need a shocking moment. The king's death would be a great kind of chapter 2 to this, or second half of the book into the second half of the show, I should say. But yeah, I can see him maybe one more episode in episode 5. Him, and I wonder if it's going to be the illness or if it's going to be Otto killing him, poison. Something.
It's time for somebody to truly play chess. It's time for somebody to kill somebody. It's time for somebody to either take out that baby. I know that sounds bad. But I keep thinking, who was looking at that baby funny? And I was like, are they gonna mess with the baby?
Episode 1 with the maester giving
no, not that baby. The new baby.
Aegon. Somebody Aegon crazy.
Something made me feel funny, and I was like, is somebody gonna try to kill this baby?
Ooh.
Or
maybe it was the when it was all in the tent and it was gossiping. It might have been that.
There was something that made me say, "Oh, is somebody gonna make a play?" Because it's time for somebody to make a play.
I mean, listen,
for real.
We it might have been in our face this whole episode. If I can find a picture of there's one family that we can never trust in the house of Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
Lannisters. They introduced Jason Lannister in this episode, and I thought that blade that he gave, the weapon, the gift, I thought it was gonna be a dull blade, and when he went to go stab the thing, it was gonna kill him.
Man,
I thought that he was giving the king, some poison, spiked wine. So
that was very embarrassing.
I thought that deer was gonna get him.
I was like, first of all, what kind of hunting? This is not. I don't think this is how you use the word hunt. That ain't
right.
This is
that's not. That's that they brought you the butt. Yeah. Like what?
Yeah, he lucky he got a spear because if he had to use a bow, he only had 3 fingers to draw back with. So
story. But yeah, I'm thinking that this episode definitely gave us the seeds for Lannisters. Yeah, we can never trust a Lannister. And Jason, whether it was him hitting on Rhaenyra, him speaking of, and I think that whole thing when he was talking to the king about, there's, I think he's making up kind of false lies to the king getting in his head.
Y'all can keep calling that king weak if you want to, but you saw what it is. You saw what it is. The king said, "What'd you just say?" I said, they keep calling him weak.
That was liquid courage. Liquid courage. That was liquid courage.
Exactly. My man was himself with that wine. He was, speaking the truth and speaking his mind, but it's a little bit of
y'all
that wine.
Just will not give it to that man. Y'all just will not give it to the king. The king said he didn't make this decision lightly. Y'all think I did? He said
he did confess his decision boiled down to love, and sometimes making a decision based on love isn't always a good decision.
He was out there talking.
The king is out there talking, man. His timer is going. Like I said, we got 2 more episodes maybe with the king. That'd be funny if he makes it all the way to the season finale, which I doubt.
Yeah, no way.
Nope.
That throne is doing too much damage to him.
Oh man, I wish I would have. It was either on Instagram or Twitter, but someone had kind of talked a little bit more in depth, and I think it was someone that was a book reader in regards to the kind of the metaphors and the symbolism behind the throne kind of picks the king. And right now the throne has been very reluctant to this king, whether it's cutting him and getting the scratches. Like he's not meant to be king.
It rejects him. But you saw who it didn't reject. You saw how Damon was sitting
on there.
I said, Damon with a leg over the. I said, Damon is sharp. Be careful. Put your leg down. Put your leg down, Damon.
That throne is a disaster waiting to happen. One wrong step, it's swords everywhere. One wrong step, you done for it.
Exactly.
But there is I think there's a lot of symbolism too, even down to the white book coming to go see Rhaenyra. I said, you hit the corner and she was like, nah, we're not taking this. We already got this right here. How we gonna carry both of these?
Exactly.
How y'all feel about the CGI though? The CGI boar and the bucks and stuff like that. I didn't like it. I'll
have to go back and watch because again, doing the watch alongs, I got a big ass ring light in my face, so it's kind of hard to make out all the details. But it looked okay. But I'm sure it could have been. We always with CGI, the budgets of these shows, it could have been better. But Mac, did you have any thoughts on the CGI in this episode?
I don't ever dig that kind of deep. That's not my gift. I'm looking at outfits and colors and stuff. Ain't no sense to me pretending. She-Hulk CGI never bothered me, so I know I'm not the person to ask.
I like She-Hulk CGI though. I do.
Yeah,
but I know that's always like a pain point for a lot of people though. Yeah, it's just like
the ship. I thought the ship looked great. Every time somebody says CGI, I'm like, well, what am I missing? So I don't even fool with CGI conversation. That's not my gift. I'm gonna just stay in my lane.
It's
you can
so
ask me about the outfits.
We all have nitpick on CGI. Like when we grew up, come on, movies from the 80s and the 90s, early 2000s. Yeah. We've seen CGI has come a very long way. Right. But yeah, I thought that I'm gonna have to rewatch it though, G, to see if it stood out to me. But I thought it was, from what I saw, it looked pretty solid. And of course, it happened so quickly. Those animals weren't too prominent to me. But hey man, I think we're gonna we were hitting 2-hour mark, and again, from Meg to Johnny to G, I'm glad that you were able to join the stream, man. And the lines and the door is always open for you to join the future. Mac, love your commentary, love the energy, love the comments. The door is always open to you. But we're gonna wrap this thing up, and starting with you, Mac. If you want to let the people know where your channel can be found, what you got lined up for the folks, and all that good stuff.
This week is going to be a great week. We are doing D23. What? You guys can follow me on Instagram, which is where I will probably be cataloging everything that I'm doing this week. And also I'll be at Oogie Boogie Bash for all of you guys who are big Disney fans. I'll be at Oogie Boogie Bash and then D23 of the weekend. So this is a big week for me. Come on over.
Yes. Very exciting. And you're attending D23, correct?
I'll be there.
Quick question, Mac. I'm sure you have an itinerary. When is the actual? Do you know the Marvel panel off top? Because I know it starts Friday, and it's like they're doing video games at 1. And I think they're doing some other stuff. Is Marvel Friday or is it Saturday?
Couldn't tell you that information. I'm looking towards the parks panel. That's
gotcha.
And so,
gotcha. I'm excited for that Marvel stuff.
That Marvel stuff. I keep watching, and I'll tell everybody all the things.
I'll be tuned in. You'll be my my gateway. You'll be my Yeah, for sure. Well, Mac, like I said, it's always great seeing you. You're always welcome back. And shout out to G, man. Again, you were killing it in the comments, and I'm glad you were able to throw your 2 cents in on camera, man. I know you mentioned earlier that you have your own channel. Why don't you go ahead and plug it, my friend?
Yeah, so that is Donato Reviews on everything, whether it's YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, all that stuff. Basically, I'll just review movies, anime, TV shows, do recaps, reactions, all that. And just want to share my perspective, have conversations, and do stuff like this. So I appreciate y'all for having me. Finally made one. I always catch the rebroadcast. I always catch rebroadcast of this joint. So I'm definitely excited, and hopefully you can come back soon.
100%, man. Again, I'm going to go ahead and Max, G's, Johnny's, as well as Meg's. I'm going to leave, once this video's up, I'm going to go ahead and put their information in the description. So show them some love, subscribe, follow them, do all that good stuff. And definitely do, it's like I said, support these great content creators. So again, thank you all for tuning in for week 3 of our watch along that we did earlier tonight. And then, of course, this 2-hour epic discussion. This discussion was even more epic than the battle that we got, ladies and gentlemen. Now, that's my last little joke as far as that battle goes. But again, guys, hope you all stay safe. Enjoy your day off. If you have tomorrow off, have a great week ahead of you. As far as content on the channel, we'll be talking episode 3. We'll be talking there's a couple other movies. I think I'm seeing the Woman King on Tuesday. There's a new horror film, Barbarian, that I'll be checking out this week. X, the Pearl, the sequel to that. So keep an eye out for all that great stuff. But you all be safe. You all have a great week. Mac and G, stay on for a little bit after I go in the stream. Just want to talk to you guys for a little bit. But you all be awesome to each other and be safe. And we'll catch you on the next.